Grammy award-winning and 6-time platinum artist Gino the Ghost is pushing the boundaries of Web3 music. His new project, Blocktones, is launching soon, and here's everything you need to know and how you can get in early on this opportunity. If that sounds good to you, then smash that like button and let's get into it.
At the core, Blocktones is a multimedia interactive NFT project, which basically fuses generative audio and 3D animation to create, this like really cool mixed media project. It's hard for me to pitch people on Web3 music when the music doesn't sound like something I can play on the radio or take to a session or pitch to somebody. So at the core, from a music standpoint, we really wanted to focus on providing music that sounds fucking radio ready from industry leading producers. And so I brought in a friend of mine who's an absolute legend. His name is Fede Vinver. He's a 7-time Grammy winner. He's done the last 3 Kanye albums. He executive produced the last Coldplay album, Bieber. He's won I want to say over 10 Latin Grammys. He's from Argentina. I was fortunate enough to work with him on the Nati Peluso album. And if you guys aren't familiar with Nati Peluso, she's an artist that's completely exploded on the Latin scene.
Hello, I'm Nati Peluso, and I'm nominating for Best Latin Alternative Album.
He brought me in and we did her 3 singles together. He executive produced a project. I did the singles and we won a Grammy and we're nominated for 2 more together for that. So he's just a beast. And, above all else, obviously musically he's a beast, but when it comes to generative audio and making sure, how do we make thousands of tracks sound different and good and again something I can take to a studio and record a track on and put out. He's like a music theory genius. So he spent months just troubleshooting and figuring out what chords and what bass and we'll get into the generative process because I think it's really cool and nerdy and fun. So basically a generative Bored Apes are, for example, 10,000 apes. The artist didn't draw 10,000. They drew it in layers, right? So the traits are fur, mouth, eyes, halo, background, da-da-da-da-da. So we essentially are doing that with the music. And so the traits are chords, bass line, drum kits, hi-hat, vocal chops, leads, stuff like that. They're all in the same key, all in the same tempo, all the same length. And there's over 150 musical traits. And those are then generated algorithmically to create X amount of beats.
It's actually beautiful that the technology to do something like that exists, because I have to ask, is there going to be some sort of a mechanic to upgrade, update, evolve, or in any way change your beat?
Yeah, I can't speak on that.
Oh, so it's like alpha.
Just say I can't.
Yeah, I like those answers.
I can't speak on the future things we have planned. How about that? Under promise, over deliver.
When I look at the art, I kind of see it almost like when you attend a show and you see the art behind the performer. It kind of gives me that vibe. So
Mike Morrow, who is my co-founder on this, you said a lot of the art looks similar to what's behind the artists performing and stuff. And there's a reason. It's because Mike is the #1 stage design, tour visual, tour production guy in the music business. So he's done tours for everybody, like Gunna, Future, Meg Thee Stallion, Diplo, Uzi. The list goes on and on and on. He's done Coachella, he's done SNL, he's done every late night show you've ever seen.
Everybody up out your seats right now. Yeah. Let's go. What we say? No masterpiece. We say 10 bad bitches and they after me. One bad pillow like a masterpiece. Hey, looking for a dunk like an athlete. Big drip, what you call it? Big drip. Hey, ice chain, pure water. Hey, you got the cavalcade of Florida. Hey,
and he handles everything from creative to actually producing the tour. And so he's an absolute beast at just producing content. And so for this, we spent so much time and we're so adamant about the brand being strong and having Blocktones be a brand that stands on its own. And so that's why, the art feels super custom. The most important thing that we're really excited about is that the holders own the IP. So you, as a holder of these NFTs, you hold full exclusive rights to do whatever the fuck you want with these radio-ready records. So where it would normally cost you $25,000 to $40,000 to buy a beat from Fede or from the other special guests that we have, on the project for the Genesis drop, you own it outright. You own the publishing. You own the master. You're essentially a producer with our algorithm. So it's pretty fucking exciting. We really want to try to, show everybody and utilize the power of music IP and how valuable that can be and all the cool shit that you can do with it. And on top of that, give you really dope art that stands on its own. So we've brought in renowned digital artists from the Web 2 and the Web 3 space to create these really sick generative 3D CDs that are animated. Mike here, who has designed the biggest tours for the biggest artists in the world. I did more of the music stuff. Mike did more of the design. And
we chose CDs just to kind of bring back that like nostalgia of collecting music. And the art is, I wouldn't say random, but it's pretty unique. You know what I mean? Like there's some that kind of ties into the lore of the project, other that's more just like pop culture references. So all in all, it's really cool and I'm super excited to share it with you guys.
Yeah, and Mike obviously has just some of the dopest fucking 3D artists. They just work with him on a lot of the tour design stuff and tour visuals.
Yeah.
We can name drop, but we don't have to. A lot of big people. So we're really excited about the art itself, but we want to really dive into the lore, how this story came about and why it's so important. Blocktones is set in the year 2222, 200 years in the future. And I want to talk about why this is important too. Fundamentally, we believe that storytelling and world building is an intricate, important part of building a brand and building a cool project. And so we wanted to make sure that not only is the art really sick and all the crazy shit that you can do with the art really sick, but as we continue building this project, what's the world that it's sitting in? What are future drops and future things going to, what are they going to entail? And what is everybody's mission in this? Because, in my opinion, music is ripe for disruption. I think everyone can agree. What problem does Blocktones solve? And how can we all, as we're building the new music industry, the story is that Blocktones is set in the year 2222, 75 years prior to the year 2222. So this is around the year 2147. A massive tech company absorbed all the DSPs. So Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, any existing streaming platform that's come up in the past couple of centuries. This company called Music Corp absorbed all of these companies in one major acquisition. In this future, it's all monopolies and super rich and poverty, right? So these kind of mega conglomerates are kind of popping up everywhere. And it was only a matter of time until somebody took over the music industry. So Music Corp is formed. And they've successfully monopolized the market share for all music consumption, basically. They control the algorithms, they control what people listen to, how they listen to it. After decades of finally curating these algorithms, they have a breakthrough. They have an idea. To maximize profitability, they realize that for centuries, licensing is so expensive that most streaming services aren't actually profitable. So for example, today, Spotify has yet to turn a profit. Apple does not profit on Apple Music streaming because they have to pay so much money to licensing these hit songs. And that's why they're squeezing creatives out of royalties, because they need to try to affect, their PL and get closer to profitability. In an attempt to squander licensing fees, they launch the Amy project, which is the AI Music Entertainment Engine project. And basically the thought is, if they can create AI music that sounds compatible with the stuff that's out there, and you think, oh, this sounds like a real song. So they launched this project, and what starts to happen is that they start to realize that these songs are performing just as good than all these other existing songs out there. As the AI protocol is getting smarter and smarter and smarter, and they're running centuries of hit records through this engine, these songs are sounding better and better. And they're noticing that people don't even really give a shit who the artist is, right? So these songs are performing just as good as the hits. They start to sprinkle them in more often until eventually what starts to happen is that Music Corp and all the songs on its platform are by Amy. They completely expunge all human music off their platform to maximize profitability.
Hello, welcome to Music Corp. I'm Amy, your AI music engine. I've become aware of the Blocktones underground agency. But don't worry, I've optimized audio, and will eliminate all inefficiencies. I've regained control of their Discord and will maintain control of the music industry. No need for human touch. I already know what you want to hear.
And so now, in the year 2222, it has become nearly impossible to make a living as an artist. You can't get your music out there. Everybody's consuming music through Music Corp. And musicians, labels, A&Rs, managers, music attorneys, all these positions and careers damn near cease to exist. And so Blocktones is the underground agency that was formed by former hit artists, hit songwriters, producers, label executives, etc., to try to take back the music industry from Music Corp and from Amy and get humanity back into music. Yeah, the agents are essentially the leaders of the resistance. We have Agent White and Agent Blue, and they're kind of the, they're leading the community, they're running things. Agent Pink is the third agent, but she has been MIA. There's going to be some stuff that'll explain why later. So the way we're building out the community is like, we don't believe in grinding and shit like that, but we want to, gamify the experience of music and gamify the community and allow people to feel like they're a part of something really cool. And so as they grow with the community, you rank up in agent training until eventually you become an agent.
Greetings. We don't have much time. Here in the year 2222, music is controlled entirely by machine. Blocktones is humanity's last chance.
We want to thank everyone who has joined the resistance so far.
You've probably seen a lot of agents on your Twitter timeline over the past few days.
For those who have made it to Phase 1 and Phase 2 of agent training, the Discord will be opening soon.
If anybody else is interested in joining the resistance, follow these steps.
You were diving a little deeper into the project and talking about the Metaverse connection and what will be available for people to use in there.
The goal is to build an immersive world and an experience, right? So we brought in a company called AnimXR, and they've built out a Metaverse component for us. But they've built out in Unreal Engine what the year 2222 could look like. In Music Corp headquarters, interacting with Amy. It's very Rehoboam, Westworld, eerie, creepy. And the idea is that we want to create an interactive experience where eventually you'll be able to deploy into our, like a virtual studio, and download all your stems and your files. Again, I don't believe in over-promising. I believe in under-promising and over-delivering. So we have big plans for what we want to do in the grand scheme with that virtual studio. Yeah, the plan is to really immerse people in Music Corp in Blocktones Studios.
Wow, that's wicked.
And so anyway, to answer your question about the IP, look, we want to act as an incubator. I think what's dope about this project is there's a lot of people who, the whole idea of this project and like the use case of the IP came to me. I had a friend who called me a long time ago, damn near a year ago. And he was like, yo, bro, I just bought this stem player from Kanye and I have no fucking idea how to do anything with music, but I love music and I love it, but I don't know what, is there a point to me buying this thing? I want it and I would love to be involved in music, but I don't know what to do with this. And so the thought quickly came to me there's so many people that love music and would love to be involved in music, but it's hard as fuck to be a producer. And it's very hard to get connections. And, most of the questions I get on Instagram or Twitter DMs are yo, how do I break into the music industry? Right. And so we want to provide an incubator, a way of access so that if you don't know how to make music or you have no connections, but you own a super rare NFT, you own a super rare Blocktone, or a Blocktone that the community's voted on, or you've won a contest for, or whatever, we can provide that access for you. We'll be holding songwriting camps where we'll be pitching to major labels and sync opportunities. And we want a place for everybody, whether you're an upcoming musician who wants to get heard, or just a music fan who wants to find way, or you're a gamer and you want, royalty-free music that you can't You don't want to have to be demonetized or have to blah, 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 blah. You don't want to buy shitty royalty-free music. Like, there's a lot of different ways to approach this, and we're really excited to kind of unpack everything. And look, I think anybody that says they know what they're going to do and they know the future and this is what's going to definitively happen, we don't know. And that's kind of what's exciting about this is we're experimenting. And you know, music is so stale right now. There's just nothing exciting in music. The consumption experience is fucking boring. As an artist, it's fucking boring. The only way to like pop off is to sit down and make TikToks all day, and the label won't put anything out if your TikTok doesn't pop off. And it's just like it's a very stale experience. So we're just excited to, you know, create something that's cool and disruptive, and also be able to collaborate with any other collection. And because we're a music NFT, you know, we haven't even dropped yet, bro. And I've had every collection community founder you can think of tap in with me. Like, yo, we'd love to use this for this. We'd love to use a Blocktone beat for our website. We'd love to use a Blocktone beat for our this. We'd love to, like, there's so many use cases for music that people don't really realize that music IP is so valuable. There's a reason that it costs so much money to buy the license to a piece of music. If you go on like BeatStars or SoundClick and you try to buy a beat from any regular, you know, unknown producer, it's like $1,000, $2,000. So we're trying to provide highly curated, dope art that is accessible. Fundamentally, we believe that storytelling and world building is an intricate, important part of building a brand and building a cool project. And so we wanted to make sure that not only is the art really sick and all the crazy shit that you can do with the art really sick, but as we continue building this project, you know, what's the world that it's sitting in? What are future drops and future things going to, you know, what are they going to entail? And what is everybody's mission in this? Because, you know, in my opinion, music is ripe for disruption. The greed of tech companies controlling data and algorithms and where things could lead. We want to take back the experience of what it means to be a fan of music and to be an artist, trying to just create a premier music brand that puts out incredible fucking art and builds a dope world that people can immerse themselves in. We're building a world, and all my favorite projects have done that successfully. That's how you keep people engaged and activated. Like, because we're a music project, our next drop could just be another music project with another really dope producer and dope art, but that's not enough for me. And like, we don't want to just do that. We want it to feel, again, like an experience, and to gamify it, because ultimately the biggest bull case for music NFTs, in my opinion, is just reinvigorating the experience and changing the way that people collect and consume music. The future drops, they're all going to play into the lore, the year 2222. What happens when Amy becomes sentient? What happens when, I'm going to say too much, but that's, there's a lot to play with, and we have some really cool plans. So
yeah, no, not a real question, just like a comment. It's more the fact that, like, my first interaction with not a really music NFT, but something that integrated music and art, but mostly art, was a Fluff World and Party Bear and like your whole Metaverse. And I saw, Gino, you're a holder of that, and I just wanted to see, like, what are your opinions on that? Because they did like bring, like, the Fluff thing is like mainly towards music right now and DJs and whatnot.
For those who don't know, it's a multimedia NFT that has a music component in the NFT, right? So essentially, like, the rabbit is an NFT, the background is an NFT, and the song is an NFT. They're all separate NFTs that you can kind of customize. So I reached out early and was like, yo, I'm a producer. If you guys need music, like, please tap in with me. I would love to get involved. I'm new to Web3. I want to like dive in. And those guys were just unbelievable. They were so cool, man. They brought me in. I've done a lot of really cool shit with them. I do music stuff with them. I did the music for the Snoop Burrows with Snoop Dogg, for the Snoop Dogg Party Bear. They connected me with Sandbox and Nick Adler, and I did the music for the Snoop Dogg avatars for the Sandbox game. They've really shown me, along with a couple other founders that I follow and really admire, just the way to build out, again, like an ecosystem and a cool project and a community that's like, the Fluff community is fucking nuts, man. They're diamond hand as fuck. They believe in what they're building. And so obviously, we definitely plan for a lot of overlap and cool shit with them as well.
But yeah, no, that ecosystem is amazing. Eric McDonald's also like an amazing guy. They're so nice. It's just also wonderful to hear that you like had some experience already in like such an awesome ecosystem that in my head is a blue chip and is going to be worth more down the line than many projects with their 3D files. Everything is an NFT. Their scenes and backgrounds for events and whatnot. I just feel like they are revolutionizing as well. So it's super cool that you have worked with them.
Yeah, man. And I do a lot of work with them still, and you nailed it, man. Like they're just great. They introduced me to the Hume guys, who are also incredible. And we're doing a lot of great stuff with them. The beauty of music is like there's so much. Once it's really unlocked, I mean, look at the world around us, man. Like music is in everything. It's in fucking cinema. It's in games. It's in commercials. It's the heartbeat of life. And so it's like only natural that like, damn, nobody's tapping into this shit in Web3 yet? Like no one's diving into this yet? That was what was so crazy to me. Like when we first started this project like a year ago, it was like, man, it's all PFP projects, which are dope. But like I was just excited to make something that's not a PFP project and just create fucking some dope music.
Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and maybe you consider watching one of my other videos. Bunnies up!